And I mean, the Kings got a lot of work to do. Ryan, good to have you on. We're going to be on after the game as well. But Dallas dominated that first half of basketball, just dominated.
Yeah, Grant, it was pretty much a perfect first half of
Yep.
basketball for Dallas. They got a little bit from everything, 14 from JaVale McGee before even talking about the three-pointers. So the Kings got a lot of work to do in the second
Yeah.
half.
All right. You talk about the 3-pointers, and we always point about that. Let me give you some of the numbers. Let's start with
Yeah.
Sacramento first, okay? The Kings were led by the all-star De'Aaron Fox. I mean, how about that? 8 of 8 from the line, 16 points. Excuse me. Sabonis had 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. The Kings got absolutely nothing, Ryan, from their bench. Their bench did nothing in that first half. The Kings shoot 48%, only 3 of 12 from downtown. Meanwhile, Dallas, taking advantage of this awful Sacramento defense, 52%, including 48% from beyond the line. And that's why it is 74-56. And how about that first quarter for the Dallas Mavericks? I mean, 45 points. What's going to happen when Luka Doncic is on the floor tomorrow?
Well, who knows? The way they play right now, I mean, a lot of guys are getting a lot of opportunities right now. This ball's moving more than it normally does. They've had, I believe it's like 21 or 22 assists in the first half with only 2 turnovers. You don't usually see that for Dallas Mavericks basketball. But yeah, the first quarter, they couldn't miss, and it continued into the second, Grant.
Yeah. I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks, okay? And this game's not over. We've seen the Kings come back from these type of deficits very often, okay? I don't want you can debate this with me, and I'm happy to debate this. This team is not playing well. I've been talking about this, Ryan, on a consistent basis for the last couple of weeks, all right? The game the other night against Houston was an awful game. I know they won. But the last 10 games, Ryan, that you and I have been going over, there's a lot of areas that would concern me. And I'm hearing about Monty McNair talking about Coach of the Year today and the playoffs. Screw that. You know what? You got to make the playoffs first. And there are a lot of games left, Ryan. And again, I'm not saying this game is over. We could come on after the game and we could be talking about a Kings victory, but that doesn't camouflage, or excuse me, it's not a camouflage of what some of the issues are. The issues with this team, Ryan, they are incapable of stopping anybody. They just can't stop anybody.
Yeah, and they're incapable of rebounding outside of Domas. It's a huge problem, the length with Dallas, but the holes do stick out, Grant. When the three ball's not falling, everything else is not falling into place, and this team's got to find a way to be able to do something outside of Fox and Sabonis. And at this point, I'm not sure what it is.
I don't really understand what's going on. I don't watch the Kings telecast. So I don't know. Okay. When you are on the road for a long period of time, the first game back is challenging most of the time. So there is some truth to that, okay? But not by 20 points, okay? Not by 20 points in the first quarter. You're down 45-25 in the first quarter. That should not happen. That should not happen. Should not happen at all.
No, hey, guys, let's just kill this right here about the commentary with the Kings. We're over halfway through the season. You know what you're going to get at this point. It's not going to get any better. So put it on mute and just enjoy the game, or put on the G-Man, because it's atrocious. Period. Done.
Well,
done.
Again, I'm not even going to comment on the broadcasting because I'd be, first of all, being dishonest. I have not watched one Kings broadcast since I left. Not one. Okay. I haven't watched 1 second of anything to do with Kings programming. So I'm not going to sit here and criticize the play-by-play announcers or the analyst or anyone else. I'll leave that up to you. If you want to criticize them, hey, this is an open forum. You can criticize them all you want, but I'm not going to give you my opinion on that other than the comments that I see. I know that there have been a lot of comments about Katie making excuses that the team is tired and this and that in the past. That's garbage. That's nonsense. That's for losers. Winning teams and good teams don't make excuses about their schedule or being tired. They don't do that. So I'm not going to buy that. What I am going to tell you right now is this game is not over, okay?
Nope.
The Kings have been down by these types of margins. And listen, if the Kings take the lead going into the fourth quarter tonight, it wouldn't shock me. That's what we see from the Kings. They're capable of doing that. Now, you made a very good point. Dallas played a pretty much a perfect first half. What's the chances of them playing a perfect second half?
Well, Grant, we've seen the Kings do it against Brooklyn, right? They put
Yep.
up 150 that night. So I mean,
Yep.
that's the kind of thing we're talking about. But chances are, no, they're not going to continue shooting at this clip from the 3-point line. But the Kings have to take advantage of the opportunities they get when they get stops. They
Yep.
need to limit it to one shot, and they got to score after that
Yep.
because they're not doing that whatsoever. Second
You know,
chance points.
nobody's baiting me into anything. I get messages every day from people that I know and people that I don't know criticizing the telecast. And that's fine. I got criticized too. Jerry and I got criticized. That's okay. All right. Again, I appreciate the comments, but there are other options. Go get the league pass. Watch Derek Harper and Mark Followell or whatever. I don't know. All I'm telling you is let's talk about the game right now. 74-56. And the Kings have a lot of work to do. And not only do they have a lot of work to do, you made a very good point a couple of minutes ago. We are who we are. That's exactly right. The Kings aren't going to change. They're not going to wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden start holding teams to 25 points a quarter. That's not going to happen. Okay? So deal with this. And when you don't have a game, Ryan, where you're making your threes like tonight or like the last game or other, you're not going to win a lot, especially when you're playing good teams. Now, I want to ask you, what did you think of Kyrie Irving in that first half?
I thought he looked great. I know he didn't shoot a great clip, but I thought that the offense looked really good with him.
It
It's
did.
going to be different when it's going to be different when Luka's in there.
Yeah.
That being said, I want to go back to what you said about the Kings. Here's
Uh-huh.
a positive: they got to the free throw line 18 times.
Yep.
They could not stop Domas. Domas missed a lot of chip or little
Yep.
chip shots,
Yep.
and Fox, too, got to the line as well. And that's where it needs to start for the Kings offense. They need to go to those two guys and then work their way out because that's how those shots are going to get opened up for Herter, Monk, Lyles, Harrison Barnes. So that's how the
Yep.
Kings mount a comeback.
All right. Tell me the last time you saw a stat like this.
Yeah.
Ready?
Ready.
23 assists and 2 turnovers in one half of basketball.
That's why I said perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
the
Right.
only other thing would be 23 assists and no
Yeah.
turnovers.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, especially for a team that doesn't average that many assists. So, Grant, there's something to it when everybody's touching the basketball and then you're in the flow of the game, right? And
Yep.
that's what Dallas is doing right now.
Yep.
So the Kings got it, and the Kings can do that too. So that's what they've got to do in the second half.
Tough to spot a team 18 points at the half. All right, let's talk about Bennett's 2 locations in Sacramento and in Roseville, coming soon to the Blue Oaks Town Center in Rockland. Prime seafood and steaks. The weekend brunch is great. Roseville on Eureka and in Sacramento on the corner of Howe and Fair Oaks. Big time King supporters, the Bennetts. Their food is awesome. I love the redfish with the sauteed spinach. And if I'm going beef, it's hard to beat the bone-in ribeye. It's incredible. I've done the porterhouse. I've done the prime New York filet. They have hanger steak. They have it all. Go to Bennett's. You'll love it. Great atmosphere. The food is dynamite. Bennett's with 2 locations. 74-56 at the break. Ryan and I are going to be talking after the game as well right here. And I'm just going to say this, Ryan. I like to talk about before it happens. If the Kings lose both these games this weekend, and they could win both the games, okay? So I'm saying if.
Yeah.
Maybe Phoenix right now is a little bit better than I thought they were without Durant. They had a very impressive win tonight, and offensively, they didn't look like they were having an issue at all. This would be an awful way to go into the All-Star break if you're Sacramento, if you have a bad couple of games here. So I think these games are critical going into the All-Star break. I really do. You and I were on with Sean Salisbury earlier, and after that, you and I talked, and I said, would you take a split in these 2 games? And you said yes. And I said, absolutely, I would take a split. You can still win them both, but right now, a split's looking pretty good.
Yeah, and I would say a split for take 2 of the next 4, period. Because Oklahoma City's playing good basketball as well, and Phoenix, Booker's getting back into the swing of things.
Yep.
So, the Kings, 18 of their next 24 games are against playoff teams as of right now. So that's why you can't go on 4-game losing streaks at all at this point in the season.
No, you cannot. You cannot. And they were so lucky to win their last game against Houston. All right, so we want to give final score predictions right now. What do you think the Kings' final score is going to be tonight? And if you hit it, we're going to send you if you don't like that T-shirt when they come out. Again, there's a game tomorrow, and then the Kings play Tuesday against Phoenix, and then it is the All-Star break. So Hit us up with those games. I don't think the Kings are going to win tonight. I don't see it. I don't like the way they've been playing. And although I can't imagine Dallas going with 23 assists and 2 turnovers in the second half, I
No.
don't see Dallas relinquishing an 18-point lead. I think they're playing too well. So I think the Dallas Mavericks are going to win this game tonight. And I'm going to say that their offense will cool down a little bit in the second half. But think about this, Ryan. 74 points. How about that? So I'm going to say Dallas is going to win this game tonight, 128-119.
All right, Grant. Dallas, they take a lot of threes,
Yes.
even before coming into this game. So it's not out of their character, but with Luka out, I think they're going to slow down, and I think the Kings are going to pick up. I think the
Okay.
Kings ultimately get on a nice run in the third quarter. I think this game's going to go to overtime. Final
Wow.
score is going to be 138 Dallas, 132 Sacramento.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Give that one more time again. 132 to what?
138 Dallas, Sacramento 132 in overtime.
Wow. Well, that would be a hell of a game. That is for sure. That would be pretty freaking amazing. Well, first of all, thank you for being with us. Ryan and I greatly appreciate that. We are spreading the truth. And hey, we're objective. That's the only way I know how to do it. Ryan has certainly been very honest with his assessment, and we are both in agreement. We don't always agree, and I like it when we don't always agree. But right now, I've said this for the last couple of weeks. I don't think the Kings are playing well right now. And here we go again with a half where they got thoroughly outplayed. And let's just call it the way it is. They got thoroughly outplayed by a team without their superstar. Okay, this isn't just let's just call it the way it is. Their best player and one of the top 2 or 3 players in the entire league is not on the floor right now, and that team still scored 74 points in the first half.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, Grant. But that's why the Kings, they cannot give up on it. Keep doing what they're doing on defense. I like the principle of what they're doing. It's just maybe contesting those shots
Yeah.
a little bit better and slow
How
down
about a
the
lot
other
better?
guys. Well, a lot better if you want to say that. But slow down the other guys. Kyrie's going to get his. We know that. But
Yeah.
they got to do something.
All right. Want to tell you about New Works Plumbing in Sacramento, locally owned for over 20 years. New Works has a fix for you. Just go to sacserviceplumbing.com or call the number on your screen. New Works Plumbing available 24/7. New Works, they've got a fix for you. All right, intermission, 74-56. Ryan thinks the game's going into overtime. I don't, but that would be phenomenal if this game goes to overtime. I'll tell you right now, the Kings in the locker room, if you told them the game was going to overtime, they would take that in a heartbeat after being thoroughly outplayed 74-56. So their first 5 minutes of this third quarter is going to tell a lot, Rhino.
It will, Grant. And we haven't had a great start to the third quarters in the last few games. So hopefully that turns around tonight.
Yeah. All right. Anything else stick out for you from that box score that we didn't go over, or do we pretty much cover it?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. They just got to start shooting the ball a little bit better. That's it.
Kevin Huerter going to make any threes before the All-Star break?
Yeah, no, Kevin will get right. But that again, it's got to be inside out and can't be forced. So look for him to get going if he gets some little bit more minutes. Mike Brown's not playing him as much, if you noticed.
No. Keegan Murray, 19 minutes, 1 rebound.
Well, he's just sitting in the corner, Grant. That's the problem. I mean, most of the action is out on the perimeter right now because they're doubling off of Kyrie.
Great point. Great point. He did score well. I was pretty happy with his offense. Murray, I thought he was good. Made 2 threes, 3 of 5. Fox, obviously, 16 points. De'Aaron, though, 2 assists, 3 turnovers. That's not good. The Kings in this second half, I'll tell you this, Ryan, if the Kings are going to come back and send this game to overtime, like you just said, they're going to need something from their bench. I mean, they had a combined 7 points from their bench. Monk with 4, Davis with 3. Nobody else scored. All right. Now, I know they didn't get a ton of minutes, but that's going to have to change, I think, in this second half.
Yeah, I think so. And I think Mike Brown needs to be quick to go to the bench if it's not working right off the bat in the third quarter, because I think Monk will come around. He's been playing well. I think Lyles could be big in this game as well. And then also, if Sabonis keeps getting down low, and I know McGee's giving him a little bit of problems, get those guys into foul trouble and score with the clock stopped.
Amen. All right, we'll talk to you after the game, my friend.
All right. See you after overtime.
Ryan's predicting overtime. I'm not. I think the Kings are in trouble. 74-56. Enjoy the second half, everybody. We're back in about an hour.